Okay, now let's talk about what is accounting and why we need it. You remember Asha, your friend? She opened her chicken stall. First week, business is great. It's booming. Customers are buying all of her chicken rolls. Life is good. Then all of a sudden, a big client comes to her stall, says, I really liked your chicken rolls. Let me order 500 rolls for a party. Asha is excited, but there is a problem. She does not have enough money for raw materials. So she goes to the flower shop. She says, Bhaiya, can you give me some uh, flour on credit? I will pay you later. Similarly, she goes to the chicken shop. She says, brother, I'll pay you later, maybe after a weekend. Uh, uh, she she knows that the stove that she has, it is not enough to cook 500, so she takes a bigger stove on rent. So that day she cooks a lot of chicken rolls. She sells it to the client who gave her the order. The client says, okay, I will pay you after 7 days. She makes a lot of money that is about to come after 7 days. Next day also she sells some of her chicken rolls, but next day there are only few customers. Not a lot of people come. Maybe that day is a puja day, that day is a Saturday. You never know what happened. But that day there are only few customers. Some chicken gets wasted. Some raw materials get wasted. Meanwhile, she also hires a helper to manage the stall. The helper says, Didi, I want to get paid salary every week, not every month. So uh, please pay my salary, right? Now, by the weekend, Asha has hundreds of transactions, buying on credit, selling to customers. Some people pay, some people say we will pay later. She's paying to certain shops instantly. She will say she will pay to certain stops later. There is some wastage. Then she also has to remember the helper's salary. She also has to remember the electricity bill, daily expenses. Can Now think about this. Can one person remember all of this in their head without writing down? And if they are not able to remember all of this, how are they answering basic questions like how much profit am I making? How much should I give the chicken supplier? How much should I pay the helper? How much stock has gone wasted, right? Without a system, just keeping numbers in your head, it is impossible. You would only be guessing. That is why, in order to record all of this, in order to keep all of this straight, that is why we have a system called accounting. Accounting is nothing fancy. Accounting is basically you write down all things properly, all transactions properly, and then you organize them so that they make sense. And then, based on that information, you make better decisions. That is it. Accounting is nothing great. It is very simple, right? It is simply, according to the textbooks, it is simply the process of recording, classifying, and summarizing transactions in monetary terms and interpreting the results. Right? Now, if you read this definition, it will be extremely easy for you. It is nothing but recording, classifying, summarizing transactions in money terms, and interpreting the results. Right? So, record, classify, summarize, interpret. As simple as that. Now let's see what recording means, right? Recording is nothing. It is just simply writing every transaction down. Okay, so let's say Asha buys chicken for 500 rupees. You write it down. She sells 10 rolls that day. You write it down. She pays somebody. She pays the helper 2,000 rupees by the end of the week. You write it down, right? Some customer buys chicken rolls but says, I will pay you later. You will write it down. She has to pay 100 rupees for electricity. You will write it down. She takes some flour on credit. You write it down. Somebody pays money because they took rolls last week, but they're giving money now. You will write it down. So you basically write down everything. That is essentially what recording is. Recording is nothing but writing down every transaction. It is also called bookkeeping. Now, what do you do after writing it down? Now, after writing it down, you classify all of these transactions. Classification is nothing but grouping. It means you put similar accounts together. Like, for example, there are 10 different people who purchased goods from us, who purchased chicken rolls from us, like from Asha's shop. All of those you put in sales account because they're all sales. There are 4 or 5 times you pay rent to somebody, you put it all in rent account. It is basically grouping. We will go through more of these in the future, but just remember, classifying is nothing but put all kinds of transactions together. That's it. You just have to group similar kinds of transactions together. Then summarize. Once you group everything, you make reports. There will be some reports like profit and loss account, balance sheet. We will look at them in the future, but you just remember that summarizing is nothing but once you have written down everything, which is a recording, then you have classified everything, similar accounts, into similar groups. Then you just have to summarize them. There are certain reports like profit and loss account and balance sheet, and making those reports itself is summarizing. Once you summarize, then there is interpreting, right? Recording, classification, summarizing, and interpreting. Interpreting is nothing but looking at those reports. Are you able to say, is the business making a profit? Does the business have enough cash? Is the business in loss? Can the business open another store? All of these questions. That is it. So that essentially is what the core process of accounting is.